I'm Amanda McLaren, and this is the Papaya Pod.
Good morning and welcome back to the Papaya Pod. We're back for the second episode, Keith, for our INDYCAR reviews.
Absolutely. Who would have believed it would come round so quickly? But do you know what? We're here, James, and I'm so pleased that we can bring the review to our Papaya fans.
Yeah, for sure. And it's a good race to start on, I think. Race one, of course, St. Petersburg.
Yeah.
Um, no real massive surprises from qualifying other than maybe Dennis Hauger putting you up in third.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
Outside of that, I would sort of say it was as you'd kind of expect, really. McLaughlin, he's always strong in St. Petersburg. Palou, you can never write that guy out. He's always there or thereabouts.
Absolutely.
Um, so let's get into it then.
Let's do this.
We'll do a little race recap before we get on to the reason we're all here, onto our love for the Papaya Boys, and we'll discuss
Absolutely.
how we felt the race went for our wonderful trio. So we'll start off on the rookies then, Keith. We sort of touched on them in the in our preview video for the season.
Yeah.
We both correctly predicted that Dennis Hauger we felt was going to have the strongest start, and he did, as we just said. He started in third. He finished off in 10th, so he tailed off a little bit during the race. But for me personally, I would just put that down to experience of getting into an IndyCar. More
Yeah.
laps, more endurance, managing the tyres.
Mm.
And,
Mm.
he made it through unscathed because that first lap was chaos, Keith, wasn't it?
That first lap was chaos, and I've got to be honest, I was really hoping to be able to see what Mick would do in that car. But as we saw that, a couple of turns in, and that was the end of his race for this part. Did wonder if they'd get the car rebuilt. I've got to be honest. I thought if there was too much damage or not so much, they might get him out just to do some laps, even though he'd have been laps down. But obviously, that didn't come to fruition, and poor old Mick sat on the sidelines and watched Alex run away with it.
He did indeed. And before the Mick Schumacher haters starts jumping all over it, take a sit down, chill out. This was 100%, 1,000% not Mick's fault.
It was not his
Um,
fault. He was caught
but
up in the tailwind of that lot.
not the risk sounding critical of a driver, because as you know, Keith, that's not what we do here.
We don't. Nope.
But the man in question, Stingray Rob, has a bit of a history of those kamikaze dives into the corners.
Yeah, he does.
He sort of well, straight into the side of Ferrucci. I think it was corner four, turn four, if I remember right.
Yep.
Just completely poleaxed Ferrucci off the road. And poor Mick, who had a nice little slipstream, hoping to hit the corner and then come at the Ferrucci and Stingray Rob. He had nowhere to go other than on top of Ferrucci.
Yep. Got
He ran
collected
out
on
of
the way
road.
through.
So, as
Yeah.
you say, I was a little bit disappointed they didn't manage to get the car back on the road.
Yeah.
You can only assume there must have been a lot of damage done. Um, but it would have been good to have given him some laps.
It would have been nice. But you know what? We've only got a couple of weeks to go, and we'll be out there doing it again. So we get to see
Yeah,
it.
and let's hope he makes it to lap two this time. You know, we can only hope.
That would be nice. That would be
as
nice.
we
But
said
yeah,
in the
so
preview episode, he's a nice guy, and
yeah,
I think he's going to do well. Just extremely bad luck, and
I
he's
think it
feeding
was.
into those haters.
Yeah, it was just wrong place, wrong time, James. And he got collected, didn't he? Along with, and we've seen that even the most seasoned drivers get caught out like this before. So as you said, we're not going to harp on it. We're not going to hate on him because at the end of the day, he's out there, he's doing it, and he's trying his best. We just didn't get to see that side of Mick on this one. But you know what that did do though is it gave him that opportunity. He's had the airtime he needed, and let's get him back behind the wheel and let's get him pushing forward. Alex, we don't need to talk about because at the end of the day, in 99 races in IndyCar, he's had 20 wins. So we'll leave that one right there. Right there. What do you reckon, James? Because he's had that.
Yeah, I think it can stay there. We don't need to go
Bless
too
him.
much into that one. The last rookie, of course, we're going to talk about is Kyle Collette.
Yes. Yeah.
I don't recall really seeing much of him in the race, if I'm being honest. He came down in 17th.
Mm.
He kept his nose out of all the mischief that was going on. He managed to get the full
Yeah.
race under his belt. Good experience, good laps.
I
And that's all we
think.
can hope for, really.
Yeah, I think, right, James, if we'd have had the team radio on, I think there would have been like saying to him, stay out of trouble, just get some laps under your belt, get the feel of this car. Because let's be honest, St. Pete is a cracking circuit, but it does, it's a challenging circuit for even the best of drivers. So I think they were probably saying to him, like, stay out of the trouble, keep the tyres good, let's push this lap, let's bring it back, so he could learn a little bit more about the car, the throttle control, changing, the car as he needs to as well. So it was a good, solid first race, is what I would say to him. He stayed out of trouble and he had a good, solid first one.
100%, yeah, I totally agree with you. And as you said, we see experienced drivers fall a cropper at St. Petersburg, and we did. To move on from the rookies onto another guy that was mentioned a fair bit in the last episode, Will Power at Andretti. He's having some gremlins with that car, it would appear, and to excuse the pun, but he couldn't power through it.
He couldn't.
Of course, he ended up into the wall on. I think he completed 55 laps, if my memory serves me right. It wasn't a great start for him. Early days, as you said, difficult racetrack. He's clearly got some issues with that car right now.
Yeah.
And hopefully he comes through it. Another guy with a load of eyes on him coming into this race was little Dave Malukas. Of course, going into the week to Team Penske. Had a lot of green in a flat spot on that front left, I think it was. And again, he walloped into the side of the wall, which caused his tyre to just disintegrate.
Just obliterated itself, didn't it?
Yeah, I do believe he managed to get the car back out though and completed the race. Maybe wrong on that one, but I'm sure he did get the car back out. But of course, his race was all but over at that point. Another guy that had trouble with tyres at St. Petersburg, Scotty Dixon. He ended up with 3 at one point. Just to see that car, I sort of blinked and looked away and came back and was wondering why there was a wheel going down the circuit. It was scary moment.
And he did well to keep the car. He did well to keep that car and not collect anybody else up. And the way you saw that wheel nut flying back, it was just a good job. There was clean air behind him, because, that could have caused an awful lot of damage if someone had caught that up at the same time. But again, we've seen this in other series where wheel nuts come off, and we see it in F1. I suppose it's what we say, that's racing.
Yeah, and that's the unfortunate side of it. It's not, it's not always going to go in your favour, is it?
No.
So we're going to go into the race. We'll just talk about the top 10. Really, we'll go from 10 to 1. Dennis Hauger, as we said, we've already covered him. We're not going to go into him too much.
Good race, solid drive, solid
drive to get a top 10 finish, which is what we sort of said we was going to base the season on.
Yeah, that's what we wanted.
Top 10 finishes, and he's gone in the first race. Great start. Rinus VK finished in 9th. Good race at the new team for him.
Yeah. And he was looking quite racy. He had some good speed at times as well. I've got to say that Rinus looks like he's found a team that he's going to work with. I think it's going to be pretty good this year.
Yeah, he did look very tasty for sure. There was some classic VK moments throughout the race. Moving on into 8th, the teammate of Dennis Hauger at Dale Coyne, Roman Grosjean. I was a little bit surprised to see him stay out of all that mischief, to be honest, with his reputation, but he did. He kept it clean, and a good points finish for him in his debut back.
He had a good, clean race. It was good to see him back in the race again. It's nice to see a real good mixture of talent on the grid. So, a good, solid race again for him as well.
Next up in 7th, for me personally, this was driver of the day. Don't hate me in the comments, McLaren fans. I know we're a McLaren podcast, but you can't take away from this guy what he did. Joseph Newgarden. He qualified down in the 20s. Finishes up in 7th. Incredible drive. Done phenomenal. I mean, he was down in that part of the grid at the start where people was tripping over each other. He kept clean. He kept out of it. He got his head down. He did exactly what he needed to do. I'm 99.9% sure he had the most overtakes in the race. Phenomenal drive. You could see why the guy is a multiple-time IndyCar Championship winner and Indy 500 winner.
He did what Joseph does best. He read the pack. He just fought his way through. He was like the silent assassin at the back of the track, just working his way through. Had great stops, timed them at the right time, at the right place. Yeah, I'd say it was a fantastic, solid drive from Joseph. And we know he's got that ability, don't we? We just know he's got that ability.
100%. I mean, if that Penske car gives him something to work with this year, he's going to be there or thereabouts at the end of the season.
That
The
goes
guy
without
has far too
saying.
much talent.
Yeah, that goes without
Um,
saying.
Next up in sixth, a man whose sort of seat was under a bit of question before the season started at Andretti,
Mm,
Marcus Ericsson, the highest placed,
mm,
second highest placed Andretti that we're going to come to.
mm.
Good solid race. He was sort of fighting for second and maybe the lead at one point.
Yeah,
Him and McLaughlin sort of tripped over each other a little bit at
yeah,
one point, and Marcus Armstrong was kind of in the mix when he was all sort of scrapping between each other. But
yeah.
again, very good finish for Ericsson. Some good solid points on the board for him.
Mm.
Um, Something to work from.
Definitely something to work from again and get that first race out underneath his belt and let's go again. And you know he's going to be coming back just as strong.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Next place, we're not going to discuss this one yet. We're going to come to it a bit later on. In fifth place was Pato Ward, leading into Mr. Kyle Kirkwood in fourth, the highest placed Andretti
Yeah,
of the day.
yeah,
Um,
yeah,
and another incredibly good drive from a driver that was well down the grid to start off with.
yeah. And
Wasn't quite
those,
as far back as Newgarden, but he was down in the 16, 17s at one point.
yeah, he was. And, bless him on those last few laps. He didn't know what hit him because let's just say, there were some bizarre overtakes, some classic Christian, which we'll come back to, some classic Christian overtakes as well on the slingshot. So, yeah, good ride again. Good drive. Loved it.
Yeah, leads in nicely into our next man that again we're going to skip straight past. In third was Christian Lundgaard.
Yeah.
Second was pole sitter Scotty McLaughlin.
Yeah, Scotty Mack. Yep.
Solid race.
Mm.
Again, he's great in St. Petersburg, and he
Yeah.
seems to pull up the bag on this
Yeah.
street circuit every time.
Yeah.
And then no surprise with the race winner, Mr. Alex Palou. Start of the season the way you would have hoped, really. Um, Left all that McLaren court case behind him. That's
Uh,
all done and dusted.
yeah. Yeah.
And he did what he did best. He's got on the track and he's got the win.
Yeah. Pre-race, they was talking to the big man as well. Chip was there, and he said, "Look, we just want to put that behind ourselves now, and we just want to go racing." So yeah, it was kind of where we expected him to be there or thereabouts. I mean, at one point he did have a hell of a lead. Wouldn't have mattered how much push to pass they had, it wouldn't have caught him. But it was still, it was still good, and we saw, we had to see him climb through a little bit and do some bits of overtaking, but kind of where we expected him, wasn't it? Let's be honest.
Yeah, and I believe he finished off 12 seconds ahead of Scotty Mack.
Yeah.
And let's not forget there was a full course yellow not that far to the end of the race really, which I had a lot I had high hopes for one of our boys that I'm going to come to shortly that being that close then with those laps left with the tyres that he had and the fuel he had I was dreaming, but
Yeah.
it wasn't to be. Alex Palou did what he did best and he got our win.
Well, let's just say we were both having that daydream. We were both having that dream of thinking, right, if this closes the pack up that close, will our guys get the slingshot? But it didn't come to fruition. So, but never mind.
It didn't, and now we're going to talk about that. We're going to get into our favourite bit.
Yeah.
I think we'll do it in car number order, Keith. We'll start off with the man on your hat, Mr. Pato O'Ward in car number 5. Very good race. Qualified down in 8th, I believe.
Yep. Yep.
Again in places from the way where he started. The first pit before the first pit, he was looking good.
Yeah.
They got onto those softs, and for whatever reason, and I've seen an interview with him discussing this, the car just didn't seem to want to play ball with him, and he sort of struggled a little bit. But 5th, a good start, far better than last year's start, where he finished in 11th.
Yeah.
So he goes into the second race in much better spirits, I would say.
He
Good
looked
race, some
pleased with
sort of
himself.
classic Pato at moments, some good,
Yeah. He
he
looked
did what he
chuffed
needed
with
to.
himself. It's a really good points for the team. We got a fantastic point space to get started with. He's had that first race. He's comfortable in the car. He'll start doing what Pato does now. He'll start working that car, finding those tweaks. But yeah, those soft tyres. those Reds, they didn't. He didn't look comfortable in them. You know, he seemed to be far better off when he was back on, you know, on the black wall. So, but again, not taking anything away, the guy drove. He looked really happy as well when he got out of the car. We didn't see him down. We didn't see his shoulders drop. He was upbeat, ready for that, and chuffed. He got points in the bag straight away.
Yeah, 100%. And we did see those softs play up with a lot of the teams. I
Mm,
mean, we've already covered the Dale Coyne boys, but Hauger
mm,
and Grosjean, they were sort of third, fourth or fifth for a good period of time. Look, they went on to those Reds and they sort of fell off.
yeah.
But yeah, I was very pleased for Pato, especially like I said after last year's race when he didn't manage the top 10. To
Mm,
get up in the fifth are some good solid points, puts him in a good
yeah.
place to springboard the season. Um, and high hopes. We covered it quite an amount in the preview. You know, he is going into this race. He was probably the favourite for the season at McLaren to push Palou. That might be a little bit more even after this race with a certain second driver, but he's the guy that most of Aaron McLaren's expectations is going to be on for sure, especially when it gets to the ovals.
Yeah, yeah,
He's great on the ovals. He always does a good job.
he does. He does.
We know the desire he has for that Indy 500 win coming later in the season.
Oh yeah,
Great start. Great
yeah.
start for Pato.
I think it's a great start. It's honestly, it's great for the team. We know that Christian. We're going to get into him in a minute. We know that that guy can lunge a car. Let's be honest, he really can. He's the guy that will look at that gap and think, "Yeah, go on, I can make it." Maybe St. Pete was that track for him to do those lunges because he caught people out where they were definitely not expecting to see a papaya car come through that gap. It was clean, it was nice, but he definitely was catching people out and they weren't really sort of maybe ready for him. But yeah, so it's good for the team, really good for Pato as well.
100% great start for Pato. Not such a great start for the next man we're going to go on to in the number 6, Nolan Segal. Um,
Yeah,
Big
yeah,
hope, not so much big hopes, but big expectations on his shoulders coming into the season.
yeah.
We already covered sort of the comments from Tony Kanaan saying that he expects regular top 10 finishes.
Yeah, he did, and with that, and again, as you and I both said, that's where we wanted to see him. He's had that first year in that car. We really wanted to see him up in that top 10. What happened? I don't know. We didn't get enough airtime on him to find out
No.
exactly what happened. Looking at the race review, they've said he did he did what he was supposed to do. He kept that, but again, was his car not set for the Reds? Did it push him even further back? It'd be nice to know what the analysis of that, when they do that data breakdown, it'd be quite interesting to find out exactly where he was fast and where he was struggling. So maybe they can look at the car in different ways in the future to give him some more tools, perhaps some extra tools he's got in the cockpit that he can use. But kind of was hoping to see him up there. I've got to be honest.
Yeah, it wasn't a good day, finishing down in 20th. And again, we spoke the importance in the preview of he
Yeah,
needs to be qualifying higher. He needs to have that opportunity where he's already in a good position to attack that top 10. We
yeah,
didn't see
definitely.
that. And, he ended up finishing a lap down, which, when you
Yeah.
think that David Marukas lost a wheel after having an additional pit and finished higher, they're the sort of things that we can't be seeing.
I
Um,
just I wonder what he felt. I wonder what happened inside him when he saw Palau come past him and to lap him. And we saw it happen on the track. It was one of the only times we did actually see his car on the track. I mean, I just wonder what that did to his morale in that car at that moment. I'm sure that if we had a close up, we'd have seen his shoulders, sink well below the wishbone. He would have been probably kicking himself, thinking, "What have I got to do to make this car work?" And that's probably the biggest indication. Is what has he got to do? He's potentially, maybe, I don't know, change the mindset. He's going to have to get into that fierce mindset of I can do this, I will do this.
Yeah, and it was a small part of me that got quite excited when I seen Palou start, coming behind him. I thought, can he stick his elbows out a bit here? Can he hold Palou up a little bit? Give Christian a bit of an opportunity to catch up. But it wasn't to be. If we could take a positive from the day, though, he kept his nose clean. He kept out
He
the
did.
couples.
Yep.
He did get the, well, 99 laps he ended up with because he obviously finished a lap down. So he got some good track time, got a bit of understanding of the car. And if we can take the positive from it, hopefully he goes into the next race and he'll be able to learn from what didn't quite work out at St. Petersburg.
Yeah, do you know what? I love that, James. Too right. He's got data. The team have got data. He's got 99 laps worth of data. They will see where the car was changing when he was dropping off. Perhaps that with his coach, with his racing coach, they will go through that. And that might be a tick in the box that says, right, I'm going to be a top 10 finisher from now on. We just don't know, do we? But we can live in hope, can't we?
We can live in hope. And talking about living in hope, Keith, my hope for a certain Mr. Lundgaard to be challenging for the championship this season.
Yeah, I
It's
know
on.
you, and I can see you've got your Lungard on because we've got a
It's
Paco in the
there.
room.
It is there. It's on, Keith. I'm fully biased here, 100% biased. It's the start he needed. Got on the podium in the first race.
Yeah,
Um, I thought he was going to get Scotty Mack for a while.
I did wonder. I got to say,
Yeah,
I did wonder.
part of me was excited that he was going to get second. The other part of me was very nervous that he was going to collect Scotty Mack and end up out of the race altogether. Thank
Yeah,
goodness that didn't happen. I'm convinced this is where it all begins, Keith.
yeah.
Christian Lundgaard is going to be 2026 IndyCar champion. It's my prediction. I don't care what anyone thinks about it. That's what I'm going to say.
Do you know, I love it. I love the fact that you've got that want and that desire to see him achieve that. And everybody knows that Keith is a Pato fan through and through. But you know what? First and foremost, I'm an Arrow McLaren fan. I am a team fan first and foremost. And
100%.
when I saw, we definitely need to change his name to Lunge Guard, don't we? Because let's be honest, that was
There's got to
one
be a
lunge and a
t-shirt
half.
out there with that, surely.
Gosh, Struth. I saw that and I was like, please, let's have a replay, please. And of course, we did get that replay. And talk about catch somebody looking in their wrong mirror and just go up, and round. What a move. And then to make it stick as well, and still had push to pass towards
Yeah.
the end of the race, which again, fantastic that he still had his push to pass. He hadn't used it all up.
And to be honest, Kirkwood could have had 15 mirrors on the car at that point. I don't think it would have made a difference.
He was still coming through, trust me.
Yeah, he was coming through. That was sort of one of those, I'm here, you best move, or we both going out.
Yeah.
As you say, we've seen it no end of times from Christian. Phenomenal overtake, done safely. The
Yeah.
important bit about it, he did it safely.
Yeah, I think that
Um,
was he got that tailwind. He was in there, he was tucked in, he had the aero, and it was completely safe and it was as clean as you're going to get. Yes, it was a ballsy move, but you know what? It was a clean move as well, and he executed it perfectly.
yeah, and I think we saw the growth in him as well. Maybe from
Yeah,
last season, certainly from the season before, where he was challenging Scotty Mack for those last, 10, 12 laps.
yeah,
In the past, we might have seen him get a little bit frustrated, and then either collect him or sort of flat spot a tire and end up in a bit of bother himself. We didn't see that.
no, no,
We saw the understanding of it's better for me to get this third place. It puts me in a good place. Um, and we leave it down to the racing gods. Second wasn't meant to be in St. Petersburg, but we're not going to turn our nose up at a third, are we?
no. And you know what? A third place is better than no place. Let's be totally honest. So we've got to take those points. I mean, as a team, we've come away with fantastic points. Having a third and a fifth, that gives us a really good grounding for the season ahead. And I think that between Christian and Pato, and I really hope that Nolan can play in this point system as well. But you know what? It gives us an opportunity to be the constructors championship winners. We're going to get those good points. We need to keep bagging them up and banking them, and using them to go forward. And to see Christian and Pato both high up in that top 10 on the first race that's a breath of fresh air. It's very similar to our Formula One team of last year, getting both drivers right beside each other. Long may this last. That's all I can say is let's do this.
Yeah, and another day we would have seen a second and third place finish there. Maybe on a slightly more open track. I
Yeah,
honestly believe Lundgaard had the speed and the ability to take Scotty Mack.
definitely.
Pato was flying at one point, although his car wasn't with him. He rapidly caught Kirkwood.
It definitely
Um,
did. I mean,
and
I
the
think
other
if
thing we saw was Lundgaard left Kurt Budd behind. As soon as he got past him, he didn't hang
he,
around, did he?
well, that was what got me, James, is the fact that I thought, right, he must have used all of the push to pass now but he didn't use all the push to pass. He did it. He got clear
No.
air, and that car was just in its right place in the right time, and it was doing what it needed to do. Had Pato been behind him, maybe we'd have had that closer. We'd have had that draft, and we could have then, seen Pato as well moving up, because we know that they can drive. The one thing we do know about Christian and Pato is they can drive behind each other and beside each other without taking each other out. They've got that ability to fast and hard race with each other, but knowing where each other is as well.
Yeah, 100%. And I'm really excited going into this week because I believe we straight back into a race, Keith.
Yeah, we're not. Yeah, I said 2 weeks. No, it's not.
Yeah,
We're straight. Stupidly, we're straight back in this weekend, aren't we?
yeah, we're in the Good Ranchers, Arizona.
Yeah, we are.
Obviously, we've had a shake up the schedule this year. I just had to double check then because
Yeah.
there was part of me thinking that we was back.
No, yeah.
A shake up of the schedule, of course, because this time last year we was at the Thermo for the
Yes.
second race. Not this time round. We're in Arizona. And I think we go into our race with high expectations.
It's another track that creates good. Arizona's another track that creates good racing. So we should see some cracking racing this weekend.
Very much so. The only thing we can hope for is another solid performance from our boys. And I'm crossing my fingers, Keith, that we don't get to see Alex Palou on the top step.
It would be nice not to have him up there. It'd be nice to see it in Papaya. And do you know what? I hope that with the learning that that Nolan's got, will that week make it? A week can make a whole world of difference in racing. We know it can. If he can get to grips with that data, have a chat with Christian and a chat with Pato, who knows? We could end up with all three cars high up in that top 10, if not two of them on the top steps. Let's be honest.
That's the dream right there, Keith. My fingers are firmly crossed, and I think that's a lovely place to leave it for this episode. We will be back the same time next week for our review of Arizona.
We will be back.
me and Keith are going to give our pennies worth on what we felt went well with the race.
Yeah.
So yeah, pleasure as always, Keith.
Thank you, James. Yeah.
Us.
And we get to race again next weekend.
We get to race again next weekend. And lead us off, Keith. How do we finish every episode?
Come on, ladies and gents, you know this by now. Let's never stop racing. We've got this.